Hey everybody, Eric Chessen, founder of Autism Fitness, leading the movement for movement. And if you are ready to become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro, go on over to autismfitness.com. You can register today and begin your coursework on your journey to creating the best possible, most effective, most reinforcing, and most absolutely critically needed fitness and adapted PE programs for the autism and neuroadaptive population. So in today's Tuesday training video, I'm going to do a little comparison between two of my athletes. And what you're going to see is that the age and ability levels are going to vary incredibly. However, we're looking at the movement pattern, and it's important to note that in our programming, it's not about having a different exercise for every single athlete, or in your programs, it's not about having dozens and dozens of different exercises. Are there dozens and dozens of different exercises to choose from? Certainly there are. However, we know that there are a few essential movement patterns that are going to have the greatest amount of generalization or carryover into activities of daily living, into developing strength, motor planning, and stability, along with strength and endurance. And it's not so much about every different athlete needs a different exercise. It's all about scalability. How do we progress or modify each exercise so that it makes the most sense and has the greatest possible training effect, meaning that the exercise has the intended benefit for that athlete. So what I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen here. And let's start with this gentleman, one of my older athletes. And what we're going to look at is this hurdle step. So you can see what he's working on right now is a single leg hurdle step. So this is what we would call a progression from our standard hurdle step, which is in our warm-up phase of exercises. So we have hurdle steps, and then he's going to switch to a lateral hurdle step as well. So what you want to keep in mind with this gentleman is what we're working on here. So the goal, these are not just randomly chosen exercises. The goal is to increase hip mobility and focus on his gait pattern, but also create some endurance here as well when he is navigating the stairs or walking to his car. We want him to have the healthiest gait pattern possible. And with the lateral steps, we have more of a gait challenge, and there's a different point of movement and stability as well. And then we'll start breaking this down physically, adaptively, and cognitively. So we can already see adaptively, there's a little bit of a pause here. He's talking a little bit extra. And of course, we definitely see this with the neurotypical population as well. So a little conversation going on here. So a little longer duration than we would typically like. That's all right. And here, once he gets started, we're good. So you can see that single leg step that he's taking. That hip flexion looks really good. Postural control is decent, something that we're working on. You can see definitely postural control is certainly a goal of ours. Here you see definitely folding forward, some spinal flexion there. But overall, this has, if I were to show you comparison video from where he first started, drastically improved. And you can see this is a pretty advanced movement pattern, and this is just the warm-up phase of the exercise. So what he's going to do is go around twice. So he stepped over with that right leg and now stepping over with that left leg. So what you can see here, he's stepping and planting, stepping, planting the foot, right? Step, planting the foot, and getting that nice high hip flexion there. And there is some unilateral stability, believe it or not, going on there as well. Little cue here, but if we're breaking this down physically, adaptively, and cognitively, we can see that he clearly understands the expectation for performance, can do it independently, right? So we've advanced the exercise. What I've done is I've progressed the exercise. So it's far beyond, the standard baseline of hurdle steps. We've added not only a taller hurdle step, but gone with a single leg and added that lateral step as well, so that we have an advancement or a progression. From there, adaptively, is he motivated enough to participate? Absolutely, barring the the extra conversation in the beginning, which again we have with a lot of our athletes, neurotypical and otherwise. Barring that, he's on task. He doesn't stop in between. He's motivated enough that he's ready to complete the exercise. So we're good. And cognitively, does he understand the expectation for performance? Yeah, 100%. And in addition to that, we're also seeing best possible performance right now. So there's a clear understanding of what is expected and how to execute the exercise as well. So both from the cognitive and the kinesthetic standpoint, he's totally got it. So that's our main focus with our first athlete. Now, as we look at our second athlete here, so I'm gonna close this out. I'm going to open up my second video here, and here we go. Okay, so now we're ready for this, and let's go take a look. All right, so second athlete, you can see already that we're looking at a lower hurdle step. So physical right away. And even before that, I'm going to take it back one more time. Right? We're looking at the same exercise. So it's the same movement. We're looking at gait pattern. We're looking at hurdle steps. We're looking at hip flexion, hip extension. And here we can see same exercise. However, we've modified it. Fewer hurdles, lower hurdles, and for a visual prompt, cones on the sides. Now, here's the goal. We want the athlete, again, to engage in this hip flexion, gait pattern, locomotive process. And here you're going to see some more internal rotation of the hips and knees. So that's something that we want to reduce. And if the hurdle steps were too high or any higher than this, then we'd be inviting that compromised movement pattern, which is exactly what we want to avoid. The second thing is that he likes going over the hurdles very quickly. So the goal here, you can see already, is we have a little more on the adaptive and cognitive side as well. The motivation is to move quickly over the hurdles. However, we want to slow it down. So I have to incentivize him slowing down. So the contingency there is first doing the hurdle steps, and then you can do the hurdle hop, faster jump. So now slowing it down a lot more. So we've reduced the demand on this exercise, and there's the hop. All right. So we go one more time, slowing it down. Again, it's not going to be 100% every time, but we want to get as close as possible to it as well. All right. So there we saw two different athletes, clearly different ages, clearly different ability levels, same exact exercise. Reason being that even though exercise selection is a big component of our programming, we can use the same exercises because ultimately we're looking at the same movement pattern, the same exercise. The key here is the scalability and understanding the physical, adaptive, and cognitive needs and abilities of each athlete. For the first athlete, the older gentleman that I demonstrated, already incentivized, already motivated. So the key there is just, coaching as much as I need to in order to facilitate good movement. So it might be a cue for him to stand up taller because he has a tendency to flex forward. For the second athlete, who you can see is go, 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 what we want to do is actually slow it down physically so that there's more motor control. We want to incentivize it. So there you have your adaptive. So the athlete is sufficiently motivated to complete the exercise to current best ability level. And cognitively, we may need to follow label, demonstrate, do, and cue, which is one of the big components of the Autism Fitness Level 1 certification that you get, and it is a game changer in programming. We need to use that in order to have the athlete understand what the expectation is, because we could easily have the athlete running back and forth across the hurdles, it's not going to benefit them the same way as stepping over the hurdles. That is what that, in addition to some other exercises that we're going to use, are going to improve that gait pattern. So that's a comparison of two vastly different athletes doing the same exercise. And the key there, the big difference, again, is the scalability. I hope that's been helpful for you. So it's not about having, again, a completely different exercise or exercises for each athlete, because there are a few exercises that we know are going to have a beneficial impact if and when they are scaled, introduced, and coached properly. I'm Eric Chessen, founder of Autism Fitness. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. And of course, if you're ready to become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro, head on over to autismfitness.com and register today.